Have you ever wondered what a very bad thermal paste application? Not really, but like anyway, just look at this one, all right? Like, does it look like a decent thing? It doesn't. Just, I mean, we are covering like not even half of the CPU heat spreader. Now, I've been trying to find a way to properly cool this X79 motherboard, which I've gotten in that $200 PC. And well, I also got this water block for around $10. Now, the water block has a backplate, which of course does not work with this kind of motherboard because it already has a backplate and it has a screwable like holes. So now what I did was just align it, and it aligns decently, you know. And so now I'll quickly show you what I've done so far. Now basically how this worked is we had those screws going from the backplate, and then you would just use this thing and clamp it down with this other thing. So now what I'm doing is I'm just screwing this one in, just super quick, like this. And then I'm putting this one inside, screwing it directly into the motherboard, and use it to clamp it. Okay, right now we have the motherboard, which we put inside, and it fits perfectly. And then we want to put here this radiator, those fans here, and then use this pump and place it around here, and then use those tubes. And yeah, let's just get into it. It's not gonna be that simple to make fit stuff that has different fittings, different kind of tubes, but we will do it, so let's go. Okay, we somehow managed to mount those fans and this rad, which did not really fit. Unfortunately, I could not mount it the other way, which would have probably been a little bit better for the tubes, but we will make do with what we have. Now it's time to mount the pump. Let's go. I built the loop and there are many things which are really wrong, and if I don't have a leak I will be very surprised, but no worries, you will see it if I have a leak. Now I did not put any fittings here because I did not have it, and like to jam those tubes into there I had to put a ton of force. Then I used the zip ties here and here because this thing was too small. Yeah, and then like the rest is pretty much done properly, like with proper fittings. And yeah, the route isn't the best either, so I guess, oh, and yeah, maybe I will have to fill it using this very ironic thing. Yeah, but yeah, let's see you in a sec when it's actually filled, and I'm gonna try to see how it goes. Alright guys, now I want to fill this loop, and to do so I will need my pump to work. So this is how you power on a power supply by itself. Well, you basically just need to short out the 4th pin, counting from here, and the 5th pin, which are the green wire and one of the black wires. It doesn't really matter which one. This will allow you to actually start your computer, and also works to test your power supply by itself. Alright guys, now this is the start of my trying to fill the loop tail. Now as you can see, this is the tube, and like this thing would not fit in there, so I just slapped the tube in there, and this is a very bad idea, but we will see if we have a leak. And then I will have to use this thing to fill it, because it's distilled water, because like where I live now, like the water is full of calcium, and like I truly cannot just use regular tap water, even though like I did in the past, but with this kind of water I don't feel comfortable. So yeah, let's get into it. Alright, second try. Alright guys, now we managed to fill the loop, although, you know, with a bit of difficulties. And it's now working great. It's also pretty quiet. But as you can see, we have a little leak over here, which is pretty impressive since we have zip ties everywhere, and this is the only place that leaks. So we will have to fix it. Now I will try to figure out a way, and then we will update you with the fix, and then we can basically, you know, put the GPU in there and have a functioning computer. Perfect. Now, as you can see, I fixed the leak, and what I did was simply using a stronger zip tie and just tighten it so much that I thought it was gonna break. And yeah, now it's up and running. I removed the tube to fill it, and now we are gonna leave it running for like 12 hours or so to get completely rid of the air bubbles, and then it's basically good to go. Let me know what you think about it. You know, we had some hiccups, but we kind of overcame them. Right now, after the custom loop being built, the PC is actually working. Now we just have to slot that R9 free, whatever it is, R9. Okay, we'll see what it is later on, and then we also have to mod it to support this NVMe SSD strapped onto a PCIe adapter, and that's an X79 motherboard, so it's gonna be quite difficult, but we should be able to do. Let's go. Okay, now here we are with the first part of the BIOS mod. Well, in this case, I basically just went on the WinRAID forum, and basically one guy already asked for it, and so Lost in BIOS, which helped me with other mods as well, just provided a working BIOS. So I just downloaded it, as you can see, and then basically unpacked it and slapped it into an USB. And now I will just flash it via the USB like it was a standard BIOS, and it's gonna be it. Okay, now I ended up having to force flash the BIOS via a bootable USB and AFU DOS. So yeah, let's go. And now it's boot cycling, so we probably bricked it. Now let's try to fix it. Okay, now thank God this motherboard had a BIOS switch right here, so I just switched to the BIOS and it's now working. But yeah, I mean, we still gotta work it out. Okay, now here we are recovering the BIOS of this motherboard. Basically, I was first flashing a modded BIOS, and I basically bricked the computer. It was in a boot loop. It kept just restarting. Well, what you have to do is simply get a USB key, just put, use the Rufus to create it bootable with MS-DOS, and then just put it in there a program which is called AFUD 238, this one, and then once you are flashing the BIOS, so I mean, this is just one way to flash it forcefully, you just flip the switch, just once you are in the DOS, but before you flash it, you just flip the switch and it's gonna work, and it's gonna recover your secondary BIOS. Okay, now this R9 390 Black Edition is gonna go in that water-cooled build which we are building over there. The only problem is it's currently overheating. It actually reaches around 80 degrees, so now we're just gonna repaste it very quickly. As you can see, it was never opened before. It still has the sticker, but now it's gonna get voided. Now I'm just gonna clean off that paste. I'm gonna be using some alcohol wipes. You can also use just some regular paper with some alcohol over it, or yeah, you can just use a water hose, but yeah. It has really dried up. Like, I can tell it was overheating. There we go. Now as you can see, it's so shiny, it reflects the stuff. And now, well, let's just go with some cheap thermal paste. And well, on GPUs you want to apply a bit more, and you also gotta be sure that like there's no alcohol in there. Now people are gonna get triggered by saying that the grease in my hands is gonna, you know, impair thermal conductivity, so one reason to do it, you know. Alright, now it should be pretty much dried up, nice. Now here we go with the paste. You generally, like you can do a cross, you can basically do whatever you want. What I'm doing right now is I'm simply putting, you know, more than I would on a CPU, and then I'm spreading it, because like I feel better if I spread it on GPUs, you know. Now I have like this handy tool here, so I'm just gonna, and that's gonna be it. Alright, now it's simply time to close it up. And yeah, I'm just gonna align it properly. And here we go with the peel off of the water cooling build with a 30 bucks loop. It's looking quite nice, huh? You know, it's always fun to install those UEFI versions of Windows, because, you know, they just bug out in the weirdest way, but in the end they work, so I guess it's fine. Alright guys, now here we are with the custom loop PC. Now, we are having a bit of trouble with the temperatures, and so far we got 11K on Firestrike. Now, I'm not really sure if that's the frequency I'll settle with, because it's still going up to around 80 degrees, which is a little bit too high, but you can see that the graphics score is pretty nice at around 14K, and the physics is still really nice at 10K. Now, I'll update you in a couple minutes. Okay, now since we had those problems with the pump, with the leaks and everything, I settled on a 4 GHz overclock, and now this is the new meta for stress testing. We are simply running Heaven benchmark in the background, then we have ADA64 here, and then we have other monitor to keep our temperature in check. Now we also have the RAM dialed in at 1600 MHz in 4 channel, effectively 3200 MHz roughly. And so yeah, we are just gonna leave this one going, and if it's stable, if we don't get any leaks, and if it does not crash, this is how the PC will stay. And yeah,